good evening. Or perhaps, given the nature of what we're about to delve into, a more fitting salutation would be good luck. Tonight, we open case file number 471. What you're about to hear are a series of recovered audio recordings, meticulously transcribed from an unassuming shoebox. It was delivered to my archives a week ago, anonymously, of course. No return address, no sender name. Just a crude label, handwritten in fading, somewhat childish ink. Carrow House, Eleanor F., 1997. My initial investigations into Eleanor F., Eleanor Fields, were inconclusive, to put it mildly. There is no official record of a missing person by that name from the period. No police reports, no missing persons bulletins, no records of any incident at the supposed address the Carrow House once stood. It is as if Eleanor Fields and the Carrow family she supposedly babysat for simply dissolved from official history. A ghost in the archives, a whisper in the wind, and yet these tapes, they exist. They are undeniably real. The magnetic tape, the specific recording technology, the audible degradation consistent with nearly 3 decades of neglect. They are physical proof of something that shouldn't be. And the content demands our immediate, unwavering attention. I have spent the better part of this past week immersed in Eleanor Fields' voice, her fear, her dissent. I have pored over the transcripts, cross-referenced what little information exists in the official records, and found nothing. Which, paradoxically, is often far more terrifying than finding something. For the void, the absence of data, suggests a deliberate, meticulous erasure. A force at play that doesn't just destroy, but unmakes. The final tape, in particular, defies all logic. It speaks to a reality fractured, a truth so deeply unsettling. It reverberates long after the last word is spoken. It hints at a cycle, a pattern that haunts the periphery of my own experiences. Tonight, we begin at the beginning, the first night, the first tape. Listen closely. Pay attention to the silences, the subtle shifts in her tone. For in these mundane details, the true horror often hides.
Okay, is this thing... Yeah, I think it's definitely recording now. Got it. Hi. My name's Eleanor Fields. 19. Fresh out of... Well, barely out of high school anyway. First night babysitting for the Carrows, just doing this little recording thing to keep myself sane, I guess. It's weird, but it helps to hear my own voice. I used to use this old thing for lectures back when I was pretending to be a diligent student, but never thought I'd be talking into it just to hear my own voice when I'm alone in this kind of house. Sighs. So the Carrows, Mr. and Mrs. Carrow, they were nice people, I guess, in a very proper sort of way. Like they walked straight out of one of those old black and white films, you know? All polite smiles and hushed tones. Their voices were soft, almost reverent. Like every word was carefully chosen, every movement precisely choreographed. They didn't even raise their voices when they said goodbye. Just these soft, almost theatrical whispers. Too quiet. Definitely too quiet. They seemed to move in perfect sync. Not like a married couple, but like reflections of each other. It made me feel like I was watching a play. The house itself, it's a showpiece. 3 stories, pristine white walls everywhere, every surface gleaming. Soft, thick carpets you could sink your toes into. Expensive art that probably cost more than my entire student loan debt combined. It smells powerfully of lemon polish, strong and clean, almost overwhelmingly so. But underneath it, clinging to the deepest parts of the air, subtly overriding the polish, there's something else, something older. A faint, almost imperceptible scent of dust and, well, I can't quite place it. Like something that's been sealed away for a very, very long time. Something dormant. Jamie the kid is 5. Or at least, that's what they said. He hasn't said a single word since I got here. Not one! Just looked at me with these giant, unnervingly dark eyes and nodded when I asked if he wanted juice, or a snack, or if he needed to use the bathroom. Just a nod. Polite, yes, but in a way kids aren't supposed to be. Too still, too composed, like someone taught him exactly how to sit, how to look, how to nod. He's pale too, really thin, almost translucent. His skin had that almost waxy sheen you see on porcelain dolls. He just sat there, watching me with those eyes. Not judging, just observing, like I was a specimen. His parents left around 6:30. Dinner was already made, laid out in neat Tupperware containers, each labeled by day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like a strict schedule. There's a magnet on the fridge that says, in perfect cursive, routine is respect, and beneath it, a list of chores, timed to the minute, even for a 5-year-old. We watched cartoons. He laughed once, just a single soft, almost surprised huff of air. Then he went back to silence. His eyes remained fixed on the screen, but I felt like he was still watching me from the corner of his vision. He went to bed at 8 on the dot, brushed his teeth, no fuss, no story, just climbed in, pulled the blanket to his chin, and looked at the ceiling. Like he was waiting for something, like a signal, or a curtain call. I left the baby monitor on in his room, took the other one downstairs. Now I'm on the couch. Just me, a bottle of Coke, and this weird buzz in the back of my skull. It's not a headache exactly, more like a pressure, like something is trying to push its way into my thoughts. The house feels deliberate. I don't know how else to say it. Like it's meant to be this quiet. Like it was built for silence. Every sound feels amplified. Every creak of the old wood beams reverberates. The air itself feels thick, heavy, as if the oxygen is too dense to breathe properly. I thought I heard something earlier, upstairs. A creak, maybe 2, followed by a faint, rhythmic thump, thump. I figured it was settling wood, old pipes, whatever. My mind, trying to rationalize. But then, the monitor started crackling. A low, persistent hiss that wasn't there before. It's still doing it, actually. It sounds almost wet. Like something is breathing into it. Okay, I just went upstairs to check. Jamie's asleep. Door closed. Light off. But I know I left the hall light on. I always leave lights on in new places. It makes them feel safer. Less foreboding. And it was definitely on. Now it's off. And it's dark up there. Really dark. And something smells different. You know that smell old books get? Like dry rot and dust and something vaguely metallic? It was just in the hallway. Right outside Jamie's door. Not the rest of the house. Just concentrated there. I checked every room. Nothing. Just too many mirrors. That's the one thing I'd change about this place. Every room has a mirror. Even the hallway. Even the guest bathroom. They're all spotless, too. Not a single smudge. It's like they're observing, watching. Anyway, nothing happened. Just nerves, I guess. First night in a strange house. Alone. My imagination running wild. I'll feel stupid tomorrow when I listen back to this. Yeah, just tired. But I swear I heard someone humming. Just a single low note. Almost imperceptible. Buried under the static. It stopped the exact moment I turned the corner. Like It knew I was coming. And then I thought I saw a shadow move. Just at the edge of my vision. A fleeting distortion in the periphery. Not a person. More like a ripple in the air. Maybe it's just the pipes. Yeah, just the pipes.
Tape 1 ends there. Eleanor Fields, still attempting to rationalize the anomalies. A common human defense mechanism against the truly inexplicable. She notes the non-existent records, the too quiet family, the peculiar rules, the unsettling silence of the house. All details that in hindsight scream of deliberate orchestration. My investigations confirm. No reports from the Carrow family in 1996 or 1997. No records of them residing at that address. The property itself, according to archived municipal blueprints, possesses only a single story and single bedroom. These discrepancies, these impossibilities, are not mere oversights. They suggest a reality that is fluid, mutable, a house that alters itself to suit its purpose, or perhaps its occupant. The humming Eleanor described, I have heard it before, in other case files. A low, almost mournful vibration that precedes activity, and the light turning off, the phantom smell of old books. These are common signatures, the marks of something observing, testing, preparing. This was not just a house, it was a container or a trap. The tapes, they continue, and the anomalies escalate.
Night 2. God, night 2. I almost didn't come back. I really didn't. I slept like absolute crap after the first shift. I kept hearing that humming, the same low note, replaying over and over in my dreams. It felt like it was coming from inside my head, vibrating behind my eyes. I woke up 3 times, heart hammering, swearing I saw someone standing in the corner of my room. Just shadows, of course. Just my eyes playing tricks, but the shadows felt solid, like they were watching me even then. And the smell of old books clung to my clothes, even though I'd changed. But money's money, right? And Mrs. Carrow called this morning, bright and chipper, saying Jamie asked for me specifically, that he pointed to a photo of me they'd apparently taken yesterday. Which is weird, because I don't remember them doing that. They certainly didn't ask. It just felt like another oddity. Another thing that didn't quite fit. But the mention of Jamie speaking, even just a point, that got under my skin. It felt like an invitation. Or a challenge. Anyway, I'm here. Again. The Carrows were a bit more chatty tonight, if you can call it that. They talked about Jamie's delicate sensitivities, their words, not mine, and how routine is paramount for his particular temperament. They kept using these strange, formal phrases like they were reading from a script. They mentioned his needs being met within the established parameters. It was unsettling. They just never spoke like normal parents. Before they left, Mrs. Carrow pulled me aside. She didn't touch me, just gestured with a perfectly manicured hand and handed me a folded piece of paper. Said it was just some basic house guidelines. I stuck it in my pocket and didn't look at it until after they were gone, mostly to avoid another one of those unnervingly polite conversations. I'm reading it now. It's handwritten in blue ink, really neat. Almost calligraphic. No smudges. It looks deliberate. Carrow House rules: no sweets after 7 p.m. Don't wake Jamie once he's asleep. Keep all doors closed after 9 p.m. Do not enter the hallway closet. That last one. Why would you include that if you didn't want someone to ask? Or if you didn't want someone to be tempted? And the hallway closet is just that. A closet with coats. I checked it last night. I think. It was just a glance, but it looked normal. Nothing special. So why the specific underlined warning? The vibe tonight's worse. Definitely worse. Jamie didn't speak again. He barely looked at me. When I asked him how school was, he just traced a continuous, unbroken line on the dinner table with his finger, over and over, until I thought he might wear a groove into the wood. His eyes were wide, unblinking, fixed on his fingertip, like he was charting a path to somewhere I couldn't see. I put him to bed around 8:15. I made sure not to leave any doors open. I kept the monitor closer than before. It's on the coffee table right in front of me now, a low hiss of static, the only sound emanating from it. At about 9:30, almost on the dot, I heard a sharp click from upstairs. Not a loud sound, but distinct, like a door shutting. Fast! Too fast for a person. It sounded hungry, and then the static from the monitor spiked. A sudden jarring crackle, almost like a scream. I went up. Of course I went up. Jamie was lying perfectly still, eyes closed, blanket pulled all the way to his chin, completely covering his face. Too still. I whispered his name. No answer. I whispered it again, louder. Nothing. I was about to leave, trying to convince myself it was nothing, when I noticed it. The closet in the hall. The one from the rules. It was open, just a few inches. A sliver of darkness visible in the crack. I didn't open it. I know I didn't. I stood there for a while just looking at it. There's no draft in this house. Every window is locked tight, sealed as if they've been plastered over. Nothing to cause a door to open like that. No one else here. Just me. And Jamie. I shut it. Quickly. Not gently, just firmly. As I turned back toward Jamie's room, a knot of ice forming in my stomach. He was sitting up, eyes open, wide, unblinking, watching me. And then, I swear this on my life, I felt it vibrate through the floorboards. He whispered something. Just one word. Behind. I spun around. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. Nothing. No one behind me. The hallway was empty, just too many mirrors reflecting my own terrified face. When I turned back, he was lying down again, eyes closed, blanket pulled back to his chin, like nothing happened, like he'd never moved. I checked the closet again. My hand shook as I pulled it open slightly, just coats. But they smelled weird, like wet stone after a long rain. Like the inside of a cave, damp and cold and ancient. And it felt like the air inside was thicker than the air outside. Like it was breathing. I shut it again. Harder this time. The latch clicked with a sharp finality. Came downstairs, turned every light on, every single one. And now I'm recording this. My hands are shaking. It's probably nothing. He's probably messing with me. Just a kid. Or I'm overtired. Yeah, that's it. Overtired. But I swear, for a second, when he said behind, I thought I felt something breathing on my neck. Cold, damp, and silent. Too silent.
Tape 2 concludes with Eleanor's chilling encounter. Jamie's whisper, behind, coupled with the palpable sensation of a presence, is a classic pattern. The entity within the Carrow House was not just passive, it was active. It was interacting, testing boundaries. My investigation of the property listed in the county archive confirms that the house which stood there was demolished in 1998, a year after these recordings were made. I managed to acquire rudimentary schematics from the original construction, and in those blueprints, there is no closet in the hallway on the second floor, just a smooth, unbroken wall. This is a critical detail. The house is not merely haunted, it is anomalous. It rearranges itself, creates spaces that should not exist. This is a manifestation of something beyond mere residual energy. It is a presence with agency, a capacity for deception, the smell of wet stone, the cold breath. These are sensorial extensions designed to instill terror. And the rules given to Eleanor. Not guidelines for a child, but a set of parameters designed to guide her interactions with something far more ancient, far more malevolent, lurking within the very fabric of the house. The house had changed, and Eleanor was just beginning to realize it.
Night 3. God. Night 3. I almost didn't come back. Again. Every fiber of my being screamed at me to stay away. I kept seeing those dark eyes, hearing that whisper, feeling that cold breath. My own apartment felt wrong. Too big, too quiet, like the house had infected my mind. But I did. I came back. Because I'm broke. And because when I called to cancel this morning, Mrs. Carrow said something I can't stop thinking about. Her voice was so light, so saccharine, almost completely devoid of normal human concern. She said, "He only speaks when he trusts someone, Eleanor. You're the first." That got under my skin. Deep. I don't know why. It felt like flattery or manipulation, like she was baiting me, appealing to some primal part of me that wanted to be seen as special. And maybe I did want to believe I was helping Jamie, that he was just a lonely kid. I told myself it was just a weird night, that Jamie was sleep-talking, that I imagined the breathing, that closets open on their own sometimes. The rational part of my brain, fighting a losing battle against the growing pile of evidence. So here I am, again! The Carrows left faster tonight. No pleasantries, no smiles, just keys in hand, lips tight, eyes fixed on the door. Mr. Carrow gave me a look I couldn't quite decipher, a flicker of something almost like fear? But then it was gone, replaced by that familiar, smooth blankness. They were out the door in less than a minute. Didn't even say goodbye to Jamie. Jamie didn't even come down for dinner. I brought his plate up. He just stared at it, those dark eyes fixed on the food for a long moment, then pushed it aside. He didn't eat. He just sat on his bed, tracing patterns on the carpet with his finger. And when I passed his art table on the way out of the room, I saw he'd drawn something else. Another picture. This time it was me, standing in the kitchen, but every window was blacked out, solid black. And there was a door in the drawing, one I didn't recognize. A little rectangle, too small, at the very end of the hallway. I asked him about it. He just said, his voice flat, emotionless, "It's the other door." I don't know what that means. The other door? Is it a door in the house? Or something else? Something conceptual? About an hour ago, the pressure in my head became almost unbearable. I decided to step outside, just get some air, clear my mind. Clear the house from my mind. I walked to the front door, reached for the knob. It was locked. I didn't lock it. I never do. I always leave it unlocked. I tried the handle, turned it, twisted it, pushed. Nothing. It felt fused, like it was part of the wall. My heart started to pound. I tried the back door, the patio sliders. Nothing. Every single exit was sealed shut. Not just locked. Sealed! The handles didn't turn. The latches were gone. Even the windows. Sealed shut. No latches. No visible seams. Just smooth wood. Like they had never been there to begin with. Like the house itself had swallowed its own escape routes. I called the Carrows. No answer. Just ringing and ringing. and then a generic voicemail. It wasn't even their voices on the greeting, just a synthesized female voice. I called my own voicemail just to make sure the phone worked, got my greeting just fine. The world outside was still there, but I was cut off from it, trapped. Jamie's asleep now. Lights off, monitors on. The static from it is still there. A low, constant white noise that almost covers the sound of my own ragged breathing. I'm trying to calm down. I am. But the air feels wrong. Heavy. Stagnant. Like the house is pressing in. Like the walls are slowly contracting, squeezing the life out of everything inside. The silence now feels like a physical weight. A few minutes ago, I passed the hallway closet. The one from the rules. It's closed now. I didn't touch it. But there's a scratch on the outside, just below the knob. Long, deep, like someone tried to claw their way out. Or in. My hand hovered over it, not daring to touch the raw wood. It looked too fresh, too purposeful. I pressed my ear to the door, and I swear I heard something shift. Not a large movement, more like a weight being dragged slowly across a rough floor. A scraping sound. And then a low, guttural sigh, like a breath. I didn't open it. I couldn't. I just walked away. My legs felt like lead. But as I passed the living room, I saw the mirror, the big one over the fireplace, and I froze because I wasn't in it. I mean, I was, but not really. My face looked wrong, distorted. My eyes were too wide, and it was smiling. A slow, chilling smile that spread across my reflection's face. I wasn't. I was staring, terrified, mouth slightly agape. Just for a second, then it was gone. Just me again, my terrified, unsmiling face staring back. Normal, too normal. I'm not crazy, I'm not. I've had panic attacks before. I know what they feel like. This is something else. This is external. The house feels aware, like it knows I'm trying to leave, like it doesn't want me to. And it's doing things, changing things. I'm locking myself in the guest room tonight. The one at the end of the hall next to the bathroom. I don't care if it's paranoid. I need a door. I need to feel safe, even if it's just a temporary reprieve. If anything happens, if I don't record tomorrow, well, you'll know something's wrong. You'll know I tried.
Tape 3. The walls close in. Eleanor's realization of being physically trapped within the Carrow house is a significant escalation. The vanished handles, the sealed windows, the non-existent Carrow family voicemail. All calculated moves by an entity that understands the concept of isolation. And the mirror, the distorted, smiling reflection. This is a common motif in cases I've encountered. Not a simple haunting, but a manipulation of perception, a psychological weapon. The entity, whatever it is, projects itself through reflections, twisting the familiar into the monstrous. It begins to co-opt Eleanor's very image, blurring the lines of her identity. My research into the Carrow property's original blueprints reveals a critical anomaly. There was no guest room. That specific part of the house, as Eleanor describes it, at the end of the hall, next to the bathroom, simply did not exist in the architectural plans. The space was an empty void, a structural impossibility. Yet, Eleanor found it. This indicates not merely a shifting reality, but a creation of space. The house, or the entity within it, is capable of manifesting new rooms, new pathways, new enclosures as needed. It's a living labyrinth, and Eleanor, unwittingly, has just chosen her next enclosure, the guest room. A room that shouldn't be. The next tape. The entity pushes closer.
Okay, it's late. I'm not sure what time exactly. The bedside clock in this guest room just says 3:33. It's been stuck like that since I woke up. Or maybe I didn't wake up. Maybe I just continue to dream. I don't know. My head feels fuzzy, like I'm swimming through thick fog. Tonight started normal. As normal as this house gets, I suppose. I tried to convince myself that I'd imagined everything, that I was just overtired, stressed, that the Carrows were just quirky. Jamie was quiet, as usual, but then, while I was setting the table for his dinner, he barely touched it again. He said something, for the first time, in full sentences. He looked right at me, his dark eyes wide and unblinking, and said, "Do you know which one is you?" His voice was flat, emotionless, like a doll speaking. I thought he was just being cryptic, or messing with me, trying to be a spooky kid. I even laughed, a shaky, nervous laugh. He didn't. He just kept staring. Then he said softer, his voice barely a whisper, "She does." I asked him who she was. He didn't speak. He just slowly lifted a pale, thin finger and pointed. Directly at the bathroom. The one at the end of the hall, just opposite this guest room. I've used it a few times. Nothing weird. Just a regular bathroom. Another mirror over the sink. One of those old-fashioned ones with a medicine cabinet behind it. I remember looking in it, checking my hair, splashing water on my face. Normal. But tonight, I went in there after he went to bed. I don't know why. Curiosity, I guess. Or maybe some part of me was drawn to it. I shut the door behind me, turned on the light, and the mirror, it was fogged. Completely. Like someone had just taken a scalding hot shower. But the air was cold. Colder than the rest of the house. I could see my own breath. My heart started to pound. I reached out a trembling hand and wiped the glass. And there I was. My reflection. But my reflection wasn't reflecting. Not perfectly. It was off by half a second. My movements delayed. Subtle at first, like a lagging video call. I raised my hand. Her hand followed. A beat later, I blinked. She blinked. A beat later, then it smiled. I didn't. My mouth was a dry, terrified line. My reflection's smile was slow, wide, completely unnatural. It wasn't my smile. It was something else. Something predatory. I leaned closer. So did she, but her eyes didn't match mine. They were wide, unblinking. The pupils too large, black pools, like she was in total darkness, or like she was the darkness itself. And they had a strange hunger in them. Then her mouth moved, but I didn't hear anything. No sound came out. It was speaking to me silently, just beyond the glass. Its lips formed words I couldn't perceive. I turned to leave, and I swear I saw her raise her hand after mine dropped. Like she didn't want me to go, like she was trying to reach out, to grab me. I stumbled out of the bathroom. I shut the door. I didn't look back. I couldn't. The hallway light flickered when I passed. Then it died completely. The static from the monitor kicked in again, a sudden burst of sound, like someone screaming into a megaphone. I was done. I was completely, utterly done. I ran to my bag, pulled it open, grabbed my keys. They were there. My phone was there too, charging on the counter, like they had never vanished, like the house was playing a cruel game. It gives you hope, then snatches it away. I walked to the front door, and the handle was back. Just back. Like it had never vanished. Like the whole thing was a nightmare. I turned it. It opened. Night air hit me like a bucket of cold water. Crisp, cool. It was real. I nearly cried with relief. I stepped outside, 2 feet, maybe 3, just onto the porch. My foot was just about to hit the first step down. Then I heard Jamie scream. It wasn't loud. It wasn't panicked. It was sharp. One perfect scream, like it had been waiting, like it was meant to be the exact moment I tried to leave. A single piercing note of pure terror. I ran back in. My heart was a frantic drum against my ribs. Up the stairs, 2 at a time. I burst into his room. Jamie was sitting up in bed. His mouth was closed. But his eyes were full of tears. Big, silent tears rolling down his pale cheeks. He whispered, "She doesn't like when you leave." I asked him who she was. My voice was hoarse. He said, his voice flat, staring past me, towards the closed bathroom door, "She's the you behind the glass." And then he lay down, turned away from me, back to the door, like he knew something was coming, like he was hiding. I stumbled back to the bathroom. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely turn the lock. I locked the bathroom door, took a towel from the rack, and threw it over the mirror. Completely covered it. But I swear I heard someone tapping on the other side of the glass. Not from the room, not from the space behind the medicine cabinet, from inside the mirror. Just 3 soft, insistent knocks. Tap, tap, tap. Then a voice. Not mine, but using my voice. Using my exact inflections, my tone, but laced with something cold. Something ancient. It said, "Don't forget which one you are."
Tape 4. The mirror as a gateway, a point of ingress, a means of psychological torture. Eleanor's reflection, the other Eleanor, is now an active, malevolent entity, mimicking her, speaking with her voice, attempting to confuse and disorient. My visit to the Carrow property before its demolition confirmed Eleanor's observation. The mirror in that particular bathroom, the one at the end of the hall, it was found shattered, but not outward, not from an impact. It was shattered only on the inside of the glass, as if something had tried to break out, or perhaps in from the other side. A perfect, concentric spiderweb of cracks, originating from the center, radiating outwards, but contained within the reflective surface itself. An impossible breakage. Jamie's cryptic warnings and his tears confirm his own tortured awareness. He is a prisoner, forced to witness. His drawing folder, which I later recovered from the demolished site, marked with an entry in his childlike hand, "Other Eleanor." This is not a new occurrence. Eleanor Fields was merely the next in a sequence, the next host or victim. The house was not merely playing games, it was preparing for a possession, and Eleanor was slowly losing herself to the entity behind the glass.
I broke a rule tonight. The one rule I told myself I'd never break. I went into the hallway closet. The one from the rules. The one Jamie said was hers. I wasn't trying to, I swear. I was just walking past. My hand was brushing along the wall. Something about the wallpaper there, a subtle texture, always draws my fingers. And I felt a little bump, a crack, just under the surface of the paper. It was subtle, almost imperceptible. But my fingers found it. And the coats, they were hanging strangely too, like they were covering something. Not just hanging on hooks, more like they were draped over a shape, obscuring it. So I moved them. My hands trembled as I pulled them aside one by one. Behind them, tucked between the boards, was a small seam, barely visible, but it was a door, not like the others in the house. No knob, just a little metal latch, rusted and cold, at shoulder height. A simple, archaic bolt. I don't know why I opened it. Curiosity, I guess. A morbid, desperate curiosity that outweighed my fear. Or maybe something wanted me to. A silent invitation. The air behind it felt different, heavy and still. Inside was a room. A nursery. Dust on everything. A thick gray blanket of it. A small wooden crib, perfectly preserved beneath the dust. A rocking chair, still and waiting. A mobile made of little porcelain moons hanging suspended, glinting dully in the faint light from the hallway. All of it covered in a layer of stillness so deep it felt preserved, like time itself had been paused here, like it had been waiting. And there was one toy sitting in the crib, a cassette player. Same brand as the one I'm using now, an old clunky model. I picked it up. My fingers brushed against the dust. It was cold. Too cold. I pressed play. Inside was a room, a nursery, dust on everything, a crib, a rocking chair, a mobile made of little porcelain moons, all of it covered in a layer of stillness so deep it felt preserved, like it had been waiting. One toy sat in the crib, a cassette player, same brand as the one I'm using now. I pressed play. It was me, my voice, my tape. But I hadn't recorded it yet. It was me describing this room, describing finding the cassette player, describing hearing myself describe it. It was my future, playing in the present. My blood ran cold. The buzzing in my head intensified to a drill. I shut it off, slammed the play button back into place. I backed out, stumbled out. I closed the panel. The latch clicked with a sickening finality. I didn't take anything. I just wanted out. But I can still feel the dust in my throat. It tastes like ash and fear. There were markings on the wall inside, just behind where the crib stood, scratches. At first I thought it was just wear, like damage from furniture or a cat. But then I looked closer. They were words, carved deep over and over into the plaster, not scratched, carved, like with a sharp, desperate tool. Don't let her out! Again, and again, over and over, in a child's handwriting, faltering, uneven letters, but unmistakable. Jamie's. When I came out, he was standing at the end of the hall, barefoot, pale, ghostly in the dim light. He didn't ask where I'd been. He just stared at me, his eyes huge and dark, and said, his voice flat, "That's her room." I asked him who. My voice was a croak. He said slowly, as if explaining something very obvious, "The one who isn't you." I asked if his parents knew about it, if they knew about her. He shook his head. His eyes were wide, unblinking. "They don't see it anymore," he said. "They chose not to." He went to bed without brushing his teeth, without a word, laid down with his back to the door, curled into a tight ball, like he was trying to disappear. The baby monitor's not working now, just static, loud, harsh static, and faint, clicking sounds, like teeth, gnashing, a rhythmic, unsettling sound that pulses with the hum. The mirror in the guest room has a hairline crack now, right down the center. I didn't touch it. I only looked at it from across the room. It just appeared, like a spider web had decided to embed itself in the glass. I keep thinking about that toy recorder. My voice from the future. If this recorder I'm using, I just noticed something. The tape was already at the halfway point when I put it in, meaning something's already been recorded on the rest of it. Half a tape already filled. But not by me, not yet.
Tape 5. The revelation of the nursery is a monumental shift. A hidden room unseen by the parents, marked with a child's desperate warnings, "Don't let her out." This confirms Jamie's complicity, or rather, his deeper knowledge and fear. He is not just a victim, but a silent witness, perhaps even a warder. But the toy recorder, this is the truly unsettling element, a temporal anomaly. Eleanor's own voice, narrating events that had yet to occur for her. This suggests a distortion of time itself within the Carrow House. Or perhaps a predestination. That Eleanor's path was already recorded, already set. The entity is not merely interacting with her, it is consuming her narrative, writing her story. The toy recorder found in that room during the property investigation was indeed missing its battery compartment, no way to power it. Yet the tape inside was full, a complete recording of Eleanor Fields, from start to terrifying finish, a complete loop. Eleanor was now deep within the mechanism of the house. The entity was not just behind the glass, it was in the walls, in the past, and in her future, and it was about to reveal its true hunger.
I woke up to the sound of humming. Not through the monitor this time. The monitor is gone. I told you, it's gone. This humming, it was from outside. Clear, distinct, and wrong. It wasn't the faint, almost musical hum from before. This was lower, more guttural. I looked out the guest room window and saw him, Jamie, standing in the middle of the backyard, barefoot, pajamas soaked from the dew-covered grass. His arms were raised above his head, slowly turning like he was sleepwalking through a dream or conducting an invisible orchestra. And he was humming something, that same tune, a slow, wrong melody. It didn't sound like a child's voice. It sounded ancient and not quite human, like a deep, resonant vibration that made the glass of the window pane subtly vibrate. I ran down the stairs. My heart was a frantic, desperate bird trapped in my chest. The front door was unlocked. Again, I didn't leave it that way. I never do. But it was wide open, just a sliver, letting in the cold morning air. When I reached him, he didn't look at me. His eyes were wide open but unfocused, distant, just kept staring up at the roof line. So I looked up too, and I saw it. Something moved, just at the edge of the roof tiles. Long, dark fingers pulling back over the slope, like it had been watching us. Not just a shadow, a shape. Too tall, too thin, and its movements were too fluid, like smoke, but solid. And it was gone almost as soon as I saw it. Just a glimpse, but enough. Enough to confirm. Jamie whispered, his voice clear, calm, and utterly chilling. "She's looking for you now." I didn't wait. I scooped him up. He was light, so light, cold to the touch, like marble. Didn't speak again, didn't even resist. Just let me carry him back inside. He went to bed willingly, closed his own door. As I tucked him in, I noticed a strange metallic smell in the hallway, like copper or old blood, and it clung to Jamie too, to his clothes. The monitor's gone. It was on the table downstairs. When I went to grab it, it was gone. Vanished. In its place was a crayon drawing, not taped to the table. Just there. It was me, standing in front of the guest room mirror, but the reflection was taller, thinner, and smiling. That same wide, unnatural smile. I turned around, nothing there. Just the empty space where the monitor had been. The silent living room, but the feeling of being watched was overwhelming. Like 100 eyes. I locked the guest room door. I pulled the dresser in front of it. All the furniture I could move. Pushed it against the door frame. As if a wooden dresser could stop. That. A few minutes ago, I heard something try the handle. Just once. A soft click. Then again, a little firmer. Then a pause. A long, agonizing pause. Then 3 knocks. Like on the bathroom mirror. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. I sat on the floor, huddled in the corner, and held this recorder like it was the last thing tethering me to myself. To reality. My own voice. My own thoughts. Something real. It's quiet now. Too quiet. A heavy, suffocating silence. But the light on the hallway side of the door keeps flickering. Every time it dims, I think I can see a shadow underneath. Not feet, just something swaying. Back and forth like a pendulum, a long, thin shadow. Waiting.
Tape 6. The entity makes its overt appearance. Jamie sleepwalking, his unnatural hum, the glimpse of long fingers on the roofline. This is a direct manifestation. The entity is no longer content to merely manipulate reflections or create illusions. It is now actively moving within the physical space of the house. It hunts. My investigation found no footprints in the backyard where Eleanor described Jamie standing. The grass was undisturbed, and the roof tiles had no disturbance, no marks of anything heavy or abnormal having rested on them. Yet, Eleanor saw it. This suggests a capacity for fleeting, almost spectral manifestation. It can be seen, but leaves no trace. The disappearance of the baby monitor, replaced by Jamie's disturbing crayon drawing, confirms the entity's control over Eleanor's environment and its direct communication with her. The drawing itself, which I later recovered from Jamie's folder, was indeed marked with a chilling name in his own hand, Other Eleanor. This title is not merely a description, but an identifier, a designation for what it is. The 3 knocks, a signature, a calling card, and the swaying shadow beneath the door, a horrific visual confirmation of the entity's proximity. Eleanor is no longer simply trapped. She is actively stalked. The house, its prisoner, and the entity within it are merging, and the path to escape, if it ever existed, is vanishing.
I'm leaving. I don't care about the money. I don't care about being polite. I don't care if Jamie never speaks to me again. I don't care if the Carrows call the police. I don't care about anything but getting out. Getting out of this thing. I'm done. Tonight. I don't know how to explain it. I woke up at 2:11 a.m., the exact time on the clock. The power was still on, but the air felt dead. Flat. Like a vacuum. Like all the oxygen had been sucked out of the house. I couldn't breathe. I went to grab my bag. My keys weren't in it. I checked the coat rack, the kitchen counter, even the couch cushions. Nothing. My phone's gone too. I know I left it charging in the kitchen. It's gone. It's all gone. All my ways out. Every window is sealed again, like before, but worse. The patio doors don't open. They're just solid glass walls now. And the front door! The knob turns now. It turns freely, like a normal door. But when I pull it open, it leads to nothing. Not night, black. Not darkness. Not the outside. Just black. Like someone painted over the world outside. A solid, absolute void. Like stepping off the edge of the universe. I tried to shine my phone light into it, but it just disappeared. swallowed by the blackness. I shut it. Hard. The sound echoed back at me, dead and flat. I ran upstairs to get Jamie. He's the only one left. The only human. He has to be safe. He has to come with me. His room was empty. No sheets, no toys, no furniture, just bare floorboards, and a single photo on the floor. Lying face up. It was me, standing in the nursery, only I don't remember that moment. I'm facing the camera. My eyes are closed. My mouth is open, screaming, a silent scream, and in the background, just barely visible, was the mobile with the porcelain moons. I turned to go, and the hallway had changed. Again. Longer, darker. The lights overhead, those pristine white walls stretched out like a funhouse mirror. Distorted. Warped. The end of the hall seemed to recede into an infinite, terrifying distance. I ran to the guest room, the one I locked myself in. Gone. In its place, a narrow staircase, going down, spiraling into darkness. I never saw it before. Not in any blueprint, not in any drawing, not even Jamie's. But it was there now, leading underground, and I heard it. My voice. Calling from below, not echoing, not distant. Close. So close. Like I was just around the corner. A low, mocking murmur. Eleanor, come down. I should have run. I should have stayed upstairs. Even in the shifting hall. But Jamie is still here. Somewhere. And if he's down there, if that thing has him, I need to find him. So I'm going down. There's a flickering light at the bottom. A faint, sickly yellow glow. And I think I can see a shadow. Moving on the wall. Dancing with the light. It looks like me. But taller. Much taller. And she's not holding a recorder. She's not afraid. She's smiling. If anyone ever hears this, if this tape makes it out, don't come here. Don't look for me. Don't open the closet. Don't answer if she knocks. Don't believe what you see in the mirrors. Just forget the name Carrow. Forget me. She's at the bottom now, waiting. And she looks just like me.
That was the final recording made by Eleanor Fields, her last desperate words, her final descent into the impossible. The basement she described was never found in any historical record or structural analysis of the Carrow property. No subfloor, no staircase, just solid concrete, as if nothing had ever been built beneath it. The Carrow House was indeed sold the following year, in 1998, to an anonymous shell corporation. 6 months later, it burned down. Cause, officially, faulty wiring. The demolition crew reported no signs of a basement. But last week, on my desk, I received a manila envelope. No return address. Inside was a babysitter application, filled out by hand. The agency it listed was real. The form was real. And the signature. Eleanor Fields. Same handwriting, same looping F, same smudged date. A chillingly familiar anomaly. I called the number listed. It rang twice. Then a child answered. His voice was soft, flat, too calm for a child. I said, "Hello? I'm calling about the application." There was a pause, a silence that stretched, thick and unnatural. Then the voice said, "She's back." And then the line went dead. I asked who I was speaking to. Nothing, just the dead air. The number no longer works. I tried it again an hour later, out of service, permanently disconnected. I've played Eleanor's tapes over and over, day and night, looking for a clue. A break, a glitch in her voice. Something to tell me this was a trick, a hoax, a cruel joke from a disturbed mind. But there's one part I keep returning to. One specific moment that haunts my waking thoughts and invades my dreams. On tape 5, just beneath her voice, buried under the static and the faint clicking, there's a whisper, slowed down, distorted, almost imperceptible. A cold, ancient sound. It says, "She let her in." I think Eleanor did leave that house. I just don't think she left as herself. We must always remember, the house, the entity, it does not just take, it replaces. It wears a familiar face, and it waits. It waits for its next invitation.